Good morning.
What's happening, Zach?
Yeah.
We're missing Arthur and Tom. Okay. Are we ready to begin? All right, welcoming folks in on the Zoom. We have a pretty packed room here as well at the Entertainium. All right, let's get started. Welcome everybody to the July 2023 meeting of the EGPOA board. Patrick Cannell, president of the board. And I guess our first item is approval of the minutes. Oh, sorry, touch. Excuse me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. This is the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now we can start with the minutes. Board members, this is tab 1 of your board book. Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Great. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any recusals, any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Before we go on, I want to turn it over to Hal Simon, who has been serving on our board for a number of years and has made a decision regarding his own future, but I'll let him
Stand up.
address the community.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, all. Good morning, Emerald Green. I just wanted a couple of seconds to address the community. I will not be running for re-election. My term is up at the end of August at the annual meeting. I will not be running for re-election. There's too much on my plate, a lot going on. I just wanted to acknowledge a few things. First of all, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve the community. That's what I feel. I am serving the community. But it gave me a very fresh perspective being on the board for 2 years. And it's very refreshing to see how hard everybody in the office works to make this community what it is. Also, I think I just want to acknowledge how hardworking this board is and how it's been a pleasure to serve with everybody on this board. People really don't realize how much work is involved, and some members on this board just give countless hours volunteering their time and effort to make Emerald Green a better community. And I just want to say thank you to all members of the board. So
Thanks, Hal.
with that, all you, Patrick.
And that's a great point about how hardworking some board members are, and chief among them is Hal, who really has given a lot of time and effort. So I know we're going to miss not only the extra pair of hands on deck, but your insights and thoughts as we debate issues are always really helpful.
And I would like to say I will still try to be involved as much as I can with other things, particularly the long-term planning.
Great.
We'll stay on
We'll
board.
rope you in.
Miss you, Hal.
All the best, brother.
In the
All right.
Ice rink. I was gonna say. I was gonna wait. I was gonna say.
Oh, and the ice, well, I'm part of long-term planning.
Yeah, right. We'll get that ice drink one of these days. All right, we're gonna move on in our agenda. Thanks, Al, to our management report. So the first item is the Entertainium punch list and where we are. So Michael, would you like to please review what's needed and where we are?
Where we are with the weather has not been cooperating a little bit with the lights, the street lights. The wire has been pulled. That was done last week. They haven't really done much this week because of the threat, thunder and all that in the afternoon. So this week they should be, depending on the weather, getting the poles up. We have all the poles, we have all the lights. It's just a matter of putting them up. The contractor, I have an appointment with him tomorrow at 10 to go over his punch list. Britt and I'll go through and add to it now that the building's been functioning a little bit. Because he's, looking for his last part, and none of that will be released until we get our parts. The yard work, we're going to try to work on that in-house to save money. as we move along, but, there may be some points we have to get some, something, piece of equipment or something, but we'll be working on that, but it's gonna be most likely later in the, towards September for the last part of the yard work, because of the weather and the seeds. If you put fresh seeds down, they gotta be watered all the time, so we're gonna be probably waiting until later in August to take care of that. Prepping will be done beforehand, but, we'll be working on that stuff. That's out front of the entertainment on both sides of the entertainment in front of the office and access room. The clubhouse, the wall has been taken down where the temporary office was. Yoga is pretty much set to start. Maybe getting in there next week. We're waiting for, not waiting, we have to have the rest of the stuff cleaned out. And that's about it.
Okay. Question? No.
Wrong meeting. Wrong.
Questions from Mike? No?
So I got two questions.
Hang on, Joel.
I know there's a lot of concerns from the community about maintenance in the building. I think we need to zero in and do a finer job with the maintenance and the cleaning.
That has been taken care of. I don't know.
Yeah,
when
okay.
the last time that was about, but the cleaning people, really met with them last week about issues. There was quite a few of them here this week, and they took care of the issues that.
All right, great, that's,
At hand.
yeah,
I actually got an email from a homeowner who had concerns and they were like, it's great.
awesome,
Friday.
Okay.
That evening.
great to hear.
Joel?
So I got two questions. One, I guess, Michael, we're keeping the weight room at like 64 degrees. I was looking online, they say that most places keep their gyms between 68 and 72. So I was curious as to why we would be 4 degrees below what the standard norm would be. Any ideas?
What, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning of it.
So when you indicated that you were going to be keeping the weight room at 64 degrees from the air conditioning during the day. So what I did is I went online and I looked up and say, hey, what does a normal gym keep their temperature at? Because 64 seemed a little bit low. So when I Googled it, the results I got were most places keep their gyms between 68 and 72. So maybe 72 is too high, but like 68, I'm sure would save us some money. So that's my question to you, is why we're keeping it at 64. If we need 64, then we need 64. But if we can keep it at 68, it'd be, I think it would be better for us monetarily. Why?
Yeah, 65 with the air conditioner, but it doesn't set at 65, it's 64 or 66, so it's even numbers, not the odd numbers for some reason.
Well, 68's even, so that would work.
Well, I didn't, we
We can set it at
yeah, whatever, we just can't be running in there all the time and getting.
No, I
into
understand.
the system to set it, but whatever temperature you guys choose.
Here's a guy at the gym every
Yeah,
day.
Are we hearing complaints that it's too cold?
A lot of times they complain on Facebook, don't complain to the office.
Right, that's what I'm saying, are we hearing complaints that it's too cold?
I think some people probably just feel more comfortable,
With it warm,
Sweating.
sweating.
yeah,
Yeah.
but now that we have the air purification going on, we could probably raise it a few degrees now.
I don't think it's substantive, but if it's an ask, can we just move it up to 68?
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
All right, thank you. I'm just trying to save us a few
How
dollars.
about
And then-
leaving it at where it is now?
Is that the form of a motion?
How about leaving where it is now until the summer's over, maybe when it cools down in September, raising it up a little.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you keep your house at 64?
It does also,
It's on cooling.
right, and it
Right.
reacts with the humidity in the room, so that's
Right.
some. That's going on also to pull the humidity out, the iso air is circulating things, so it's.
Okay, we gotta move on to something
Yeah.
else. This
Wait,
cannot
I
be-
got something else. So I was back in the boat storage area over there. And the amount of compost, brush and things like that It's crazy back there. We need to get a bulldozer back there to try and do something. Cause it's all over the place back there. And then also, are we doing anything to, I thought we were gonna be taking some, abandoned vehicles out or something like that. Did anything happen with that? And also there's asphalt back there. Someone dropped two small piles.
They're coming for an answer.
Okay. So from a oversight perspective, there's a couple of different trains moving at the same time. So initially, there was a proposal that was provided by Rich's team based off of how we should address this. Simultaneously, Mike started working with Sullivan County Sheriff's Department to start to identify those, I won't say vehicles, those pieces of equipment that those crafts, ensuring one, they were registered. If they were registered, you have to put a notification process in place. And two, if they wasn't, I-86 Auto Service had agreed to take them and store them. The last time we met, that was supposed to start the following Thursday. And since then, I know Mike had been working with the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department to get them out there. You have anything update outside of that?
No, Anthony and the sergeant haven't been able to jive with times, so we'll get it back there and see what's going on. However, we did put the rumor out that we were gonna be throwing things out and seizing or, putting it over, that the sheriff was gonna be in here. A lot of things that moved out that were ours.
Now, Joel, I think your point is fair and spot on, because in the oversight committee was brought up. Having a dual space, whereas there's compost as well as watercrafts and associated items in the same vicinity is a problem. The question becomes, before we address that problem, we have to have another location where compost is going to go. And that's the last thing, the last place that is sat on the oversight committee. And so my thought would be either we bring this back to the wider forum and come up with another location that compost can go, because I don't think you should want to put a $20,000, $30,000 boat next to a place where someone just dumps their debris from their house at. But right now, we don't have an alternative location. So okay, that's where we're at.
Can we just do something? Because like I said, back there, it's stacked up. I was planning on coming to the meeting. I had pictures
Last
of it.
weekend, I think right now we have to come up with a solve.
What he's talking about is the leaves and stuff. Yes, that'll get pushed off as soon as we get a chance.
Okay.
We'll rent a bulldozer and get that pushed off. Probably, I have to see what Anthony's schedule is like. They've been kind of backed up with meters and
Right.
stuff, so we did have a couple of leaks that had to be taken care of last week, so
Okay.
we'll get it coordinated, but it's on our radar.
So,
Okay.
Joel, in closing, I'll take on the responsibility, and so you can hold me accountable to making sure at least the compost issue gets addressed. And
Okay.
I'll meet with Mike next week to try to come up with a date. So it's not something that we're going to do, it's actually something that has a timeline attached.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's go on.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I just close the loop on a few,
Yeah.
on some medical report items from the last time that I know you were here? What's the status on the gate? Is that the same as the lighting?
The electric, that's all part of that.
And then the boat launch gate?
That Kevin's got to come back and put it together. They're coordinating with East Tech, our alarm people to get everything to function.
Okay, we have an ETA.
It was last week, so I'm assuming as everything else, the weather has pushed things back.
Got it. And then I think we talked about this, but just for the meeting, what's the status on the AEDs for the entrance?
They're in there.
Great. Thank you.
I didn't hear. Status on-
AED. Got the defibrillators, they're in. Better?
Yes, thank you.
So go back to the gym. We're gonna push it to 68.
Yeah, I was gonna go to the mailbox.
Got it.
So, mailboxes at the townhouses, can you give us the latest and greatest on that, please?
Well, we've been going as it's been spoke before, we're going back and forth with the Postmaster General on this. I was able to get it escalated up to Washington, so they're working on it.
To Washington.
Yeah.
DC.
Those guys. There's no guarantee, there's a new contract that has to be written, the problem is to do curbside delivery, they have to drive up the hills. So, and Cluster Box is, instead of 16 stops, it's now 1 stop, so that takes away from the carrier's money, so it's not as simple as it sounds, so. We'll continue to move forward on it. One of the suggestions was that, maybe a petition to get curbside delivery would be, something we might want to do. But that was through Washington, so he's going to get back to me.
Okay,
If we go that route with a petition, let me know, I'll hit everybody up on the free streets.
It's just something that seems so simple that,
Right,
I and it's just, I wasted, I don't want to say wasted a lot of time. I've got a lot of man hours invested in this in office staff, and just for something that you would think would be logical and a safety issue, it's just, they don't see it that way.
yeah, but it's Washington, so that's the logical.
No,
part.
it's.
The logical part goes out the window.
No,
when you're dealing with government.
it's Westchester. I mean, it's just, you call and leave a message on our service here, our answering, you leave a message for Valerie to say that there's nothing we can do. If you have any questions, you can call us. And that's what they consider a response. So anyway.
okay. Any other items, manager report?
Not at this, just the, I saw an email earlier, there was. The outdoor basketball courts, we do have the new posts that have to be put in. The one on the farther end towards the street, the bottom of the, there was some rusting through on the galvanized pipe sets there, so that one has been hanging low. It has not been repaired or lifted back up because it slides down because of the issue with the pipe.
Tennis court repair?
Yeah, that is being driven by the weather as well.
All right, let's move on, unless there are any other questions for Michael. Seeing none, let's move on.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Also, there was some streetlight concerns also. The town does have all that information. It has been put forth to them. It's funny, in one of the pictures that was sent to me, there's a sticker that says the town of Thompson. Above it, there's a piece of white tape around it. That white tape indicates to the contractor that that light has to be repaired. There is some kind of problem. So if you see a street light around with some white tape on it, that's what it is. They're they've been in working on them. It's just been a slow process.
And to put up additional lights on the streets? Is that the town?
Well, we have to petition the town to do that.
Okay. Because some of the streets are, especially Lakeshore
Well,
Drive East there.
We would have to indicate the streets where that there is none. And then talk to the petition the town board to add more lights.
One more thing, the speed bumps, is it any way we can speak to the town?
I
Try to slow the traffic?
I can speak to Rich
On
about
some of
it.
these,
I know he's dead set against it, but I can try.
I just because I had that with a different town. They're not gonna allow any speed bumps like you have in a private development that really slow down. They
Right.
have something called the speed humps.
like they have in Washington DC, just about every
Well,
street.
It's a whole process and you can ask the town highway superintendent if they'll do it, but they're loath to do it. They did some in another town, but it had to be speed ups, and then they actually said they took them out, they made it seasonal. Because of the snow plowing, they didn't want it there, because it rips it up. So you typically get it for a few months, they'll probably say no.
Worth the ask.
Yeah, surmise it.
Worth the ask. Okay, if nothing else from
I'm
or
good.
for Michael.
Wait,
then-
can we go back to the lights, So basically you call the office and let them know that light pole's out on the street and that's it.
Or the office or the town.
Call, we keep a running list here with the town. We work back and forth together. to keep a list
Okay.
going. So either location can be called and then we get together on.
Is there a number on the pole to tell you which pole it is, or you just, because I think the one that on Manchester, there's ones that's out, but it's in front of a vacant lot.
I believe there is a number on the pole.
Okay, I'll look. Thanks.
Want me to give it to you? You're there.
What's that?
794-528.
Oh, wait. I'll call it 794. Go ahead.
280.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
6845, sorry.
we're gonna move on to item C, our
Oh.
financial review. So Dan, I'll turn it over to you. To give us an update. We're talking just first about the June 2023 monthly financials. Board members, this is tab 2 in your board book.
So, relating to last month, we were over budget expenses by $31,000. We have, 2 ongoing legal opportunities. Can't really divulge much related to that. So we exceeded our budget on that. We had a, tax bill come in, that was unexpected for $8,000. For property taxes, we had to pay for that. Payroll, as you'll see, was over budget, but payroll was a 5-week pay period month. So, that is where our overage came from. Community activities was over by $6,500. Obviously, we had the fireworks display. We are now up to date on yoga, so it looks like we had some payments that had to get cleared up on yoga. And we paid for a band to be at the pool. We also had some contingency spending last month. You'll see the new tables that the board approved at the pool, so we paid out $10,000 for that. Overall pool expense was over by $6,000, mostly to heat and chemicals. Obviously, the weather has not been very friendly to the pool, so with more rain, and then when the rain shuts off and it gets really hot and humid, then you're running your chlorine and your heat in between. So that's where some of those expenses came from. Overall, our dues income was over projections by $3,000. Our late fees was over projections by $6,000, and we took in $4,400 in transfer fees. For year to date, just a very broad $22,000 is where we're over for our expenses year to date now. Due to that last month. Go ahead, Earl.
Question, do we have how can we better account for the $8,000 in taxes that we didn't account for?
It's sewer tax.
Oh, okay.
So I've sent a letter to the town board requesting that we hopefully they'll take it and treat it like an undeveloped lot and not have to pay the sewer tax on it. It is, according to the town property code, it is a golf course and that is subject to the sewer tax.
So we
I'm
need to
pretty-
change the designation of that.
I'm pretty confident that it'll be taken care of, but I can't.
Okay.
Now, if it's taken care of, would that just affect next year, or would we be refunded?
Well, there's no. No.
Just next year.
Just like-
There's no going back.
That's not.
Just before that question comes
School
up.
does that, they don't. So that's something, when we did purchase that, it was to protect the community from development and also to protect our watersheds, so. it should be something that we'd be able to make. Now.
So now from a long range planning perspective, it's the wrong time for you to leave them, bro. Like this becomes something that we probably need to prioritize on long range planning as it relates to the designation of that still being a golf course, because now it has financial. Because we'll be doing this again next year, it's another 8,000 to 10,000 that's gonna impact. the
Well,
budget.
it's not property tax, it's sewer tax. So we don't use, we'll never use sewer there, so.
Right.
It's something we can, and the sewer tax, that law, not law, yeah, it was, they just changed that last year.
Okay.
During our process of purchasing it is when the new sewer tax went into effect. So basically, right now with the sewer taxes, costs the pool $8,000 a year. It costs this $8,000 a year in sewer tax, and those are things we've never paid for in the past. It was a minimal couple $100 in sewer tax. So
Okay.
it is stuff I'm working on with the assessor and the supervisor. So we can see if we can get things turned around.
Joel, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so last month I asked, there was a $25,000 deferred golf assessment that's been on the books for a while. But I don't understand what that is. So if you can, I asked last month, so if you can put it on the list, maybe you can get me an explanation what that is. That would be good. And then what I don't understand on the income statement, there's a line item for doubtful income of a positive nature of $102,000. So what does that mean? That's in the monthly. It's I think that if you go to the income statement, it's the third item on the income statement. You see it? I can't hear anybody. If you're talking, I can't hear anybody.
We're not talking. So
We're looking.
We're all looking.
Looking, okay.
Or 111, Bill?
It's account. Yeah, exactly. You want to drill into it and see? Because usually that's a negative number, but did we get any big collections? Maybe something that came back or something? I don't know.
What page of the PDF is it?
Budget comparison.
Looks like page 13.
It's the first page of the budget comparison.
Okay, got it. I'm with it.
And then
Doubtful income dues. Good eye, Jimmy.
He's talking about doubtful income dues?
Yes,
102,000. Michael, can you clarify that?
I have no clue. Don't forget our normal accountant gave birth last Saturday, so she did not do this report, so I'm not quite sure.
All right, so we'll take it back to the accountant. Joel, we'll get you an answer to that.
okay, okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, just on the construction stuff, on the assessment and stuff. So how much of that, like of the November assessment, how much is still outstanding from that? Because I think we have any idea? No,
Joel, why don't we finish with the monthly financials before we move to?
fine, no problem.
Can
someone just
repeat what he's asking, because we can't understand.
Oh, he's asking about
He's
income from
asking-
the assessment in the fall.
All right, anything else on the monthly financials? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to.
Well, I wouldn't approve until we find out what the 102 is. Because we don't know what that 102 is.
So he's asking for clarification before we approve it.
Exactly, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great.
All right,
We need to go
vote
back.
by- We can vote by email, fine.
Yeah.
He's got a
So if you-
motion.
So we need to
One
take that.
second.
up.
For a second.
All right, we'll take it off the table. So that brings us to a discussion on the capital piece. So Dan, do you want to run through what you have and then I just it's really meant to be a broad overview. There are a lot of unknowns and a lot of questions on some pieces of this, including whether the input numbers at this point are accurate, whether they're coming from the right source, but Dan has taken the time to really sort of dive into this. And Alana, I know you had some questions about it too. So if we could just sort of bring this up as kind of just a summary at this point, so we know where we are.
Yeah, so a broad summary of what I can lay out would be, initially, the initial assessment was set to pay out up to $515,000 to complete the project. 300,000 would be for new work, 516,000, and 216,000 was for arrears. Of those arrears, we paid 205,000. We've also anywhere from $205,000 to $210,000 in new work has been completed, leaving us with a couple jobs left to complete. Michael pretty much went through most of those earlier. I think at this point, we just need very specific clarification on what is owed to our contractor. If it's different than what is showing on the books, we need that information. And I suggest that we get, estimates on whatever else we might need outside of that. Is that,
Sounds good. Questions? Or
I
thoughts?
trust it seems to me that there is a conflict between who's reporting on the actual logistics, if we're doing that today or not, because we're clearly over an area, and I just wanted to know if like Dan was reporting on that, Michael was reporting on, that's what seemed to be the help of in our discussions prior to this. Are we just doing broad overviews?
Yeah, I think if we can stick with the broad overview until we get a little better handle on the specifics. But if you
We
had,
do have specifics, right? I mean, we have specifics on what we know at this point.
okay,
I just thought it would be fair to just say those things, right?
sure, go ahead. I mean, if you want to.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
you have it right in front of you.
Yeah, I do. We had five major categories that we estimated out in the beginning of the year that were on the original assessment. Those categories were finishing carpet, networking, the electrical, carpet also is the main area flooring, which we added as a board paint, and then the fitness centers items, which were also a separate line item. The carpeting came over 95%. It was over about $9,500. But those were items that we agreed upon in the contingency. Yep. Well, again, you'll see that we're over, but there was room in the contingency.
we've added additional spending is what you're saying.
See, that's the thing that I didn't quite clearly understand from our emails, because we were saying that we added that in, but like when we were making those decisions, we had those monies in the contingency. So you're saying we added 35.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so when we made those decisions back in.
Sure, when I put the assessment together, the assessment was up to 516,000 for spending. Since then, we've added 12,000 for paint in the entertainment, right? Carpeting in 2 different areas,
Yes.
and then the installation.
Mhm.
We added bikes,
The bikes came, I think, out of Chris's, right?
but they weren't part of the original assessment.
So what, one of the. I would suggest that you keep going through the big categories before we get into I think we've already gotten into the weeds. You want to keep going. You said so in the carpeting, we ended up 9,500 over where we anticipated. You want to keep going through those other categories that you want.
Sure. It seems like one of the big line items that we're over in is the security. It seems like around May, it was something to go over. The estimate was about $75,000. We're currently a little over $97,000 on that. That I think some likely to still go in that category. The main category that we're under in is the electrical, which if you remember, that was our biggest line item, at $103,000. There is some discrepancy with some last minute rent manager stuff that came through to the effect of $10,000. So I think that number is anywhere between $40,000 and $50,000. So we were under anywhere between 50% and 60% on that category. But that's also where we are housing some of the remainder of the work that we still have left to do. And then, there's a whole miscellaneous category, just of like stuff that has to get finished. Pit ladders, fire protection, panic bars, you know, like the grab bars, toilet tissue dispensers, things like that. That total $28,000. That was not kind of in our original estimates. The flooring for what we added came out to about 16.8. And then the fitness center stuff, which is kind of a little bit of a discrepancy on where that came from with the cycle, with the bikes and stuff, that was at $5,500.
And the bikes weren't much, they were like 13.
It's not at all. No.
Right, so. I don't know if you have any specific thoughts, Mike, on any of those. One thing that occurred to me is it possible that this security line that's over actually has some electrical in there, since it sounds like we're under on the electrical bucket?
Yes,
But I think we're under on the electrical because work hasn't been completed yet,
Correct.
particularly
Right.
those light stanchions.
essentially, there's like $95,000 left from the original, what we've spent so far, but if you back out, we estimated about $75,000 for the pavement back in September for that. So I don't know, we have D and Z and then the electrical on top of that. Does that hit 20,000? I don't know. Are we projecting to be over? I would just like to know that too. The numbers don't scare me necessarily, but I just kind of want to know, should we be planning for holding off, et cetera?
So could I just summarize,
Mhm.
make sure I have this right? So we had 75,000 in the budget for site work for paving, which we haven't spent yet. So that's still budgeted, but it's accounted for. We have the lighting and gates work left. We're under budget in that category right now, but that's the major work to be done. We have a sense that we might, when all is said and done, we're either going to be on budget or over budget on that. And then we have some money that we're holding, some aged payables to our contractor that we're still holding. So it's 3 categories of money that's owed or expenditures that are yet to be made. So
Some of those categories, we don't know what the estimate is like.
and then there's also the gray area of, so there were $516,000 budgeted for aged payables and for new work. In these, there was also $109,000 in change that was budgeted for the gym lease equipment. When we came in November, we approved something, I think we approved $78,000 at that speed. And I know this is complicated because that's over 5 years, not over now, but we had 109,000 budgeted. We spent 78, and then we spent, and part of that 78 that we approved was the spin bikes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we've spent a little bit more here and there. We had to pay money, for example, to move the cardio equipment over. That was an extra expense that it wasn't on budget. So there's this extra category of $109,000 in the budget. I realize it's complicated because that was spread over 5 years, but there is some savings that we've.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's, something that we want to push by the wayside. Valid point. But again, it's over 5 years over the leasing of the equipment.
So why don't we do this? And I'm glad you're getting these
So guys-
numbers out there, so.
guys-
Yes, Joel?
So based on Alana's numbers, I believe we're over about $70,000, not including the 60,000 that we have the savings in the electric. So for argument's sake, let's say the electric completion is 30,000, so we have a $30,000 excess. So that means we're over 40,000, and then you take the 75 for the paving, that brings you up to like 115. And if you have so you're probably over about $125. Plus, what I was looking at, when I ran the report, it looks like we collected about 430,000 so far. That was through May for the old stuff in November. So there's a shortage there too. So I think we really got to focus on this and get this in, because I think it can create a problem for us.
And so that's a great segue for what I was about to say, Joel, which is that I think what we should do is we should workshop this amongst ourselves in the next several weeks, so that at the annual meeting, we have something to present to the community exactly where you are in the capital piece.
So-
And at the
Also-
same time, we should project, we're gonna be short,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So let's think about
But-
how we make up that shortfall.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Be a budget item in next year's budget.
I just want to be real specific. I never wanted to throw figures out. Like, we're throwing out figures for the lighting of what it's gonna be. but the lighting has, the bulk of it's been paid for already. Like right now,
I think it's gonna cost you money to put those poles, attach those fixtures.
Later,
you're gonna-
you know, what's-
yeah, Joel,
It's all
the
right.
bulk of that expense was running the wiring and doing all of that, which has already been paid for. So now it's just erecting the poles and putting the lights on the poles, so. That's why I don't wanna throw a figure out there until we get a full estimate on what the poles cost.
Okay, but it's gonna be money. It's gonna be money.
No
It's
matter,
gonna be
everything
money.
is money.
It's gonna be
Yes.
money.
Can I ask you just two questions? Since we're talking.
Depends if I answer them.
So we're talking about you have a ballpark about how much labor is left on the electrical? Do you have any sense of it? Okay, that's fair.
I haven't moved
And then second question, can you give us a sense, as we think about kind of cash flow, how are we doing on the June assessment?
Well, emails went out, Wednesday. For, you haven't paid your assessment, it's June 30th. You haven't paid your assessment, you gotta get in here, get taken care of, your products will be shut off on Monday, that did help it a little bit.
Got about 50 people that called.
But-
Okay, do we have a sense of how much we've taken in versus how much what we were supposed to take in and how much we've actually taken?
I think that should be part of that workshop
Jill,
conversation.
you ever remember? I was gonna, yeah.
All right, so while Michael's pulling that up, just to put a finer point on that, it's no small point, Michael was talking about. The June assessment, for members of the community, reminder emails went out, last week, but, it's time to make those payments, so unfortunately, you're gonna have to, disconnect card access. Hal, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
But there's also something with the receivables, because something doesn't look right there either. When I was looking at in this package. Something doesn't, because it lists out about 158,000 for the assessment, so things are not jiving. Things are not jiving there. And then also, Dan, you said that in this package, you included the fund balances. I don't have that. I didn't get anything on the fund balances, so we know. If you could send that out again, that'd be great.
So what I think,
So it looks like in June, we took in 514.
For what?
Non-operating income. So that would be all assessments combined.
so Joe, I think your point is spot on. What Patrick suggested, one, we need to workshop this and make sure that we are ready to have clear, concise questions or answers to any question. So that may come during our
Well-
annual with the community.
I mean, even more than that, proactively, I think we owe it to the community to present
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Right. No,
And to-
I understand, but Dan, you
Gotta
said that
be
you sent
right.
out the fund, you said that you sent out the fund balances, but I didn't,
Yeah.
in the packet, in this packet, I didn't get that, or what you sent out. I got a standard balance sheet. So my thing is like, how much money did we collect for assessments, or like, what's our cash
And it shouldn't be
breakdown?
hard to run that,
No, we need that from the accountant. The accountant has to get that, give that to us.
yeah.
It's right here.
I think that's that.
So is there a backup for the accountant as well, since she's gonna be out on maternity leave?
Yes, there is. So hang on, Joel, we've got the numbers for you.
We're owed yet, receivables on the assessment is 108. So far. let me
So,
get
so that 108 is on the assessment from November, I guess, right? The 525?
I was asking about the June assessment, Joel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because-
I'm getting a link for it to go. Also to answer your question on the incomes at 102 back to the budget.
Yeah.
Violations,
On accrual.
right, she coded it wrong.
Oh,
Place.
does that, did you hear that, Joel?
Yeah, but so that's basically a violations of 102,000 that was billed, that which we don't have collected, and the odds of us collecting it is probably not that great.
It's listed in doubtful.
So what you
Right.
have to do is you have to back away $100,000 from
All right,
your.
we'll get that, We'll get that corrected and then we can vote by email on that.
Yeah, but
Um,
what I'm saying is you're gonna be way over, you got a problem.
The revised assessment so far, 470, 447.
So,
is what it is.
so it sounds like we're gonna be a little bit, we're going to be over on the project budget. We're a little bit under on collections, and we're gonna have to, as a board, figure out exactly how much we're over and under, and then figure out where we're gonna drop the difference from. Is that basically the sum of it?
So-
Just for the community?
So I think, guys, I think we're short about 120, as of May, we were short 120 from the old assessment.
yeah, we're a little bit guessing, but
Yeah, and I-
appreciate the thought.
And I would prefer that we don't guess, we owe it.
Oh, no.
Let's
Yeah,
workshop this and make sure we have
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, fine,
answers.
fine, fine,
Budgeted
fine.
income.
So,
76.
We're not guessing.
Go ahead.
May I just for the board. It would be helpful, I know sometimes we try to get these financials out by Wednesday. We're trying to move that forward a little bit. If questions are coming. Yeah, if you have a question on the financials, so we don't bog down the meeting, if we could try to get it taken care of before the meeting. It would be helpful. Thank
I
you.
think we've been trying to do that. I think that's like what I think that's what.
Well, I see a lot of emails from
I-
yesterday at 8 o'clock.
Workshops and things like that, so this wouldn't happen here. We have 5 months from asking for the project updates. That's why we're here. Like, I mean, everything gets pushed. Like, we're all trying to do that.
Okay,
I would love that to happen in reality.
all right. I'm just gonna take us a little bit out of,
I wouldn't say that I've been holding anything up though, Alon.
I didn't
No, it's not you, Jan, not you.
like that was directed toward you. It's not. I'm just saying we've been all asking, that was not targeted.
I was talking about the regular financials.
I understand. I say collectively as a board, there have been several people who have asked for the same things over and over again. I'm not targeting anybody. Some people have access to reports that we all don't to. Like, yes, all of these things would be beneficial. We could all get it together.
okay, I'm gonna take us out of sync a little bit, because Earl, I know you need to leave, so if we could, if you have an oversight committee report that you want to give, now would be the time to do so, then we'll come back to.
Yeah, I mean, from an oversight perspective, we actually meet the third Tuesday
Okay,
of every month. So we met last as a board, and we haven't met since then.
Okay.
From a board for.
Great
oversight
report.
perspective.
awesome.
No,
That's fine. It's totally fine.
I just owe a follow-up to you all, as well as the community as it relates to the vote area.
Okay.
And so I'll make sure that's formally. Other than that, the other 2 agenda items have been removed from.
Okay. All right, so thanks for that. So coming back to the financial piece, I think we know what we need to do, that we're able to move on from that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can we set a date? Can we set a date for the workshop now?
sure.
When do you want to do it?
Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday usually work. Start the bidding at Thursday, the 20th at.
So,
Hmm?
so
So.
I can't do the 20th because there's a Lakes Committee meeting that I'm acting as the chair of.
Okay, Yeah.
Do you have a firm date of people, there's probably 150 homeowners that haven't paid that assessment that was due in June, and I heard you mention that you're gonna deactivate the card,
I'm not personally.
you're not, he is.
Yeah,
Have you
Let's
have
try.
a firm date, maybe to just do that email blast and say if it's not paid. you're-
Monday.
we did that. We
That's
already
been
did that.
done.
Mondays, everyone's cards get.
You got a date.
yeah, that's been done.
Is everybody,
Sorry.
is everybody besides Joel to on Thursday?
Yes.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Joel, can I ask you to figure that one out?
Then I gotta get someone to, Tom, since you're the chair, would you take over that? So I can be there? I need
What?
somebody to, Rich Brown asked me to be the administrator to take care of the Zoom. So, and I know Margaret has something going where they're gonna have a class and all this other stuff. I would gladly give that up if I can find somebody to take that. So I'll try and I'll talk to Rich and see if I can get somebody else to take it.
So what time on Thursday would work? So that. Well, that's right.
No, he's gonna figure it out. He just said.
Okay,
Let's keep it at 7 on Thursday.
so 7 o'clock for board workshop?
I'll make it happen. If Alana said it, I'll do it.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm blocking it in.
Be there at 6:55. We do.
You
So
guys.
you're gonna send out Zoom.
Thursday, Wednesdays and Thursdays are worst days.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Michael can never be at a Thursday. Wednesdays and Thursdays are the worst.
Wednesday and every other, Thursday and every other Wednesday.
Okay. So,
This Wednesday.
You wanna do the 18th? What 18th? You wanna do you wanna maybe do the 25th?
No, don't go into next week, just get it done this week.
Or you wanna do it the 18th?
Tuesday give us enough time to pull
I don't think
these-
it does.
the data together.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, it does. When we start and gets.
Or you wanna do it on the 23rd, Sunday, the 23rd?
Questions and,
Okay,
yeah, Tuesday works.
all right, let's do Tuesday at 7 PM.
Okay,
Is that good we do then, or
I'm off,
you're off?
but I'll be,
You're off from Emerald Green or you're off from work?
I'm off from work, but I got a lot going on Tuesday, but I should be back.
He'll be there. Superman will be there.
Are we gonna do this here or
So I do.
My only ask is, if we're coming to, but it's kind of to a lot of point, let's have our questions and inquiries like prepared so we can be as productive as possible on Tuesday.
Yep.
I only have 2 questions, so.
Okay. Let's move on our agenda. We're on to item D, the water company update. Alan?
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We'll keep it short, not much going on. We are focusing again on the meter endpoints. Staff is, as Michael said, pretty much been focusing just on that. For the water company, obviously getting these things done financially is pretty important. We don't have the financials, as also Michael mentioned, Kristen had a baby this week, and before we get it, we'll have them in the next week or so, and we'll forward them on to you guys. And we're planning on having a meeting, not this week, next week. We'll let you guys know, we'll send out soon.
Questions for Alan?
Well, no, we're good. I think the only thing that we proposed is that we meet more regularly and frequently with our water partners. We haven't scheduled that. I think at one point in time,
It's a company.
I said on one departments.
Partner.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that needs to be. brought up.
We'll pick a date, maybe Sunday morning, whatever.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's fine.
I think that's great.
Okay,
Should we do this coming Sunday?
you let me know. I'll be.
Sure.
I didn't hear what are you guys doing on Sunday? What are you doing on Sunday?
Water company meeting, Joe. It's less formal, but just to have a interaction.
Got it. Thank you.
With the water company, so it's not questions out of the blue, like, we know what they have going on, they know what we have going on. It's
Gotcha.
kind of moving the interaction and the
Gotcha.
partnership.
I'll work with you. We'll set it up for next Sunday.
Thank you.
Whoever can come.
We're all
Realizing it's a big act.
I have a limit, 45 minutes, now, any questions or nothing else.
Okay, thank you, Alan, for that. We're gonna move on to committee reports. First up is the Lakes Committee. I don't see Rich though. Rich is,
Joe's taking care of.
Joel, you gonna take care of the Lakes report?
The only thing I have is gonna be a meeting on Thursday. I believe Margaret is gonna run a class on something, I don't know what. And that's that. Things are going good. Fishing is good in the lake. Hopefully, I guess this, people are using it and stuff. Other than that, I don't have much, sorry.
Okay. I can give a report for the bylaws committee. We met this past week and with thanks to Scott Goldberg. We've started to do a real deep dive. There's kind of a cleanup of some slight inconsistencies or just definitions and little things that he was going through. And there was also there were some edits potentially to tighten up certain provisions. But the subcommittee of the bylaws committee that's working on that is going to meet again. So we don't have anything to present. And then secondly, with credit to Dan, we started to talk about bylaw provisions. Do you want to describe it? Kind of in. Yeah.
So, a lot of the capital spending in the bylaws is not, it's not in the language of the bylaws, so we're looking to provide little more clarity on capital spending. How we properly vote for, the spending, and we don't end up in position to where we're running out of a budget and you exceed your spending and you now need to bring up another vote. So a lot of that language is what we're working on behind the scenes.
So that's it for bylaws. Any questions? All right, hearing none. Earl gave the oversight committee how to go to work. So I know for long range planning committee, they're going to be putting out their survey shortly, going out.
It's open today.
It was opening today after the meeting. So did that email go out? Okay, so the email will be going out soon to the community.
You're not whispering.
Thank you.
Right now.
All right, Chris, events and welcoming.
So let's see, you want to do the rundown on the
Yeah,
events?
sure.
So, and then jump in right now.
Okay.
So we have water aerobics in some form or another, continuing on Sundays and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Today, I think Christine probably going indoors in sneakers. So water aerobics on dry land. We have yoga on Thursdays and Saturdays. Excuse me. Yes, Thursdays, Saturdays. I wanted to give a pitch for the Summer Olympics, which is right now for the last weekend in July. I think it's August 1st. Is that right?
The 30th, I think.
30th, so July 30th. So we'll try to send out a reminder this week, but this is really an event that's designed for families and for children. And I think it's also an event that families can join for part of the day or for all of the day. It's a kind of collection of competitions of increasing absurdity from kicking soccer goals or making baskets to a relay with inflatables in the pool to cornhole. So just lots of competitions that really the whole family can join in. There'll be prizes, there'll be snacks along the way, but we need folks to volunteer. We need folks to sign up to do it. Otherwise, it's not much of a competition if we're sitting there with nobody to compete. So I'd really encourage families in particular to sign up for that. You can have teams of 2 to 8. So, and it doesn't have to just be one family unit. So if like neighbors really want to like take it to their other neighbors, you can have like two homes join in a team of 8. We'll resend the sign up link this week, but we just really encourage folks to sign up for that. This is really just an event that's designed to bring the community together. Why do you want to take over?
Yes. So before I just kind of run through the list of what we've been doing, big thank yous to Mark and Cindy Kimmerman, Carla, Sharon, Kathy, Karen, and Al. These are volunteers who are either running community expert series or doing the ongoing programming, and the committee would not run without actually their help and input to doing that. It's a big effort. We have already finished up the fireworks and the band, which was a successful event in July. Mark Hanneman ran a very successful second fly fishing how-to class. I think he had almost 20 participants in this last one. Carla and Sharon just did their second of the Mahjong classes. I attended, very well attended, but also too, in the future, if you sign up for things, please try to make every effort to communicate. If you are not attending, people are taking time out of their schedules, and when we kind of lose attendance, it definitely has an impact on how we can schedule things. The yard sale is still going on in spite of the rain right now. This weekend, we had roughly 40 homes sign up. Yesterday was a big success. And thank you to Brittany for suggesting the QR code for the maps. That was also very helpful and towards our paperless efforts. Mark Hanneman is running a how-to plant microgreens today. From seed to table in 7 days. That's running at noon over here in the Entertainium. If you haven't signed up, he's got a good group going already. Please feel free to stop by. Like Chris said, the Emerald Olympics is coming up at the end of the month, along with the donut drop-in, another one. Walking Club will get a flyer sent out on Monday. They are looking to, instead of organize here locally, to do a special walk at the rail trail on Friday, the 28th at 9 a.m. I'm going to send out a lot of interest for that. And the book club has their new selection that was sent out in an email. They are planning on meeting mid-August. Their date has not been determined yet. The committee is still looking into some various programming for the month of August. We are toying with running the cabaret, that's not official, doing the fishing derby, not official. We've also talked about a bingo or bunko night, somebody had brought that up to me recently, and then, we still
Labor
have,
Day as well,
what's that?
and Labor Day as well.
And Labor Day as well, and then we also still have the whiskey tasting for the community experts that we have to run through. Before we go to welcoming committee, I just want to say, there have been several contacts made about the general rules in the various facilities that we have. Just as, I don't think these are done maliciously, but just as a quick reminder, we're going to be sending out an email this week reminding people of some of the major things that we've noticed kind of in the community as it relates to the fitness center, the pool. Just most recently, we've heard about the golf course, things going on. And so just to kind of review some large areas of concern that have been addressed by homeowners, just to kind of rattle off a couple that'll just be good to think about. In the pool deck area, that just means by the pool, like right by the water, there should never be containers there. People should not be drinking drinks over there. If you see anybody doing that, just the pool attendants are there to help with that. Smoking, please keep those off the facilities. That's just for everybody. The fitness center, we are going to be posting some reminder rules in there regarding observation of if you have minors in there and what your parameters are as a legal adult in that room. Cleaning up after yourself on the machines, et cetera, et cetera. And as it relates to the golf course property, I know those of us who live on the golf course have been noticing a lot more quads and things of that nature. Remember that it is a no trespassing over there. There are signs posted, so you have every right to go out and ask people to turn around and get off the golf course. You can call the police, you can call the office, you can take pictures, you can do what you gotta do, but they shouldn't be riding on there.
Just, and on the gym, this isn't events properly understood, but just as an update on that, first of all, we really ask that residents not move equipment. That's one of the basic rules. We're certainly open to feedback from residents on things they observe in the fitness center. I ask that those go to the office. It's not really you're welcome always to reach out to me and Alana, but it's really not a board issue. It's a management issue. So if you see something that's going on in the fitness center that or in the entertainment that doesn't look right, that's an office concern. And we, in terms of the fitness center, we're working on a couple of finishing touches. We are waiting on Advantage to come back in for some help in moving equipment. We recognize there are different viewpoints on where equipment should be. Really where we're going with that is our own expert advice and really prioritizing safety. So we're going to do our best to fix that. We just ask for some continued grace and patience as we get Advantage down here from Ithaca to make it work. Thank you.
All right, board member questions for Chris and Alana? Okay, hearing none. Joel, do you have any update for the finance committee?
No, I don't, but I see Rich Brown is on, so you might want to ask him if he has comments for the lakes.
Sure, thanks. Rich?
You got to unmute, Rich. There you go.
Sorry for being late.
No worries.
I would like to thank members of the Lakes Committee, Dan Woodruff, Mark Becker, and Mark Canterman for their participation in the community and helping get the ropes in at the beach. I don't know if you brought that up yet.
Nope.
There were also several office members who were involved. They specifically pointed out to Craig and Owen as being helpers in getting that overdue project completed. Have you discussed rules with the lake?
Nope.
No, we didn't.
I'll leave that to you guys then.
No, bring up the guy. Bring up the guy surfing on the whatever that was, that electric board or something.
Oh, I thought that was brought up.
No, it wasn't.
Board matter. There is, I sent out to several board members a video of a electric surfboard that is in the lake, and it needs to be posted that we passed a speed limit. The person who does that is on Timber Point, and I believe it was 29 was the number of Timber Point. I don't know how officially the board wants to manage contact with that person or that family and advise them that it's ill-advised. to
Rich,
use-
we'll talk to management about that. If
Okay.
there's enforcement needed there, we'll take care of that.
All right.
Uh,
The
and
other.
the rules are going out.
The last thing is because of what's going on with my personal situation, I've asked the events committee to get involved with time-wise with the kids fishing derby. And last year was a flop because there wasn't enough promotion. And I believe if plenty of promotion went around through the events committee, we can get the management people, fishermen, to go down there and help the kids out and make it a fun and educational day. I selected August 12th and 13th, 13th being a rain date, as an opportunity for it because most kids are back from camp. But the events committee is working on that and they'll follow through.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rich. Wishing you all the best. All right, moving off committee reports, our next meeting will be our annual meeting on August 20th at 9 a.m. right here at the Entertainium in the boardroom. An email went out over the weekend to solicit resumes of anybody who is interested in joining this fine group. July 30th is the deadline. Please email them to Brittany in the office and they'll be put out for consideration. The idea is that we'll schedule one or two meet the candidate events in early August and yeah, and then we'll have our annual meeting. Also at our annual meeting, as we just promised earlier, we're gonna hopefully put out a presentation of where we stand on the capital budget. That's all I had. So I guess it's time for community member questions. Anybody in the room, in the audience? Yes. And I just need you to come up so that the mic can pick you up, so folks online can hear.
That's okay, you know, it was picking up, Mitch was pretty good at that.
Hi, Johnson East Timber Point Road. I think that the compost section is a positive for the community because it avoids the landscapers dumping their trash or debris on the vacant lots as well as the community. But my question here is, who owns the vehicles or crafts that are there? Who granted them the permission? And are we collecting revenue for the use of that space from those people?
So, and I wish Earl was here for this. We don't know everyone who owns that. We're not collecting revenue. And who granted permission. It's just been an open source for many years. But it's something that the oversight committee is actively trying to get control of so that we figure out what we're going to do, whether it's close it off completely, whether it's go to some permitting process, which we need to have a process in terms of what goes in there. And what Earl was describing earlier is trying to identify some of the vehicles that are back there that are unidentified. Right?
I think the whole grand scheme of things started on good intentions. The association has, provisions that say homeowners can't store certain things on their property. So they said, we have this area that we'll call it, a storage facility for those items, so everybody can be in compliance with the appearance standards. And they have not collected on that in this time. I mean, some of them, I've been here since 16 and it's going on since at least then. I don't know how long since before that. Do you know anything else?
About 2000.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time.
So it's, it's a
But it's
courtesy that
not,
we offer.
one thing is also, we've had people here that, let's call it, we don't know who he is, Andy, has used to put his own stuff in there, and we don't know,
Yeah.
we don't know.
It's supposed to be for homeowners exclusive.
Exactly.
Right, and I'm not trying to spend more money because obviously we need money, but I could see that being a source of revenue by charging for those that.
Yeah, but that's
Someone like
puts you
myself
into a different.
not using it. Why am I footing the bill for someone who is?
Changes the legal term.
Right, we don't do anything for them. We don't do
We
it.
provide, we provide space that is owned by the community.
Right, but it's not an outside, it's a community member using their own space. You don't pay extra to use the pool,
Okay.
you know, that, I mean, that's how it's been looked at. We don't. There's a reason why we don't really know who's down there. Homeowners are allowed to store their boats there. It's a first come, first serve. Whoever's in there is in there. The minute we start taking things, and the liability is on us. You know, if somebody steals the boat.
Right.
A tree falls on the boat, then that falls back to us. And that's back in 2012 when we started it. That's what was recommended by our insurance agent, just. Sort of first come, first serve. Have people put in there illegally? Yes, there's boats. Once the gentleman that Alex mentioned from the Rock Hill, the end of Rock Hill Drive was evicted out of his property overnight. We ended up with stuff in there. We didn't have our access here because of the gate, all the construction going on, so they were able to haul things in. So now what happens is your boat gets a sticker and your trailer gets a sticker. So we know at least they're Emerald Green community. I mean, there's a boat back there that should be on the Hudson. Why is it back there, right?
And so this issue is being worked on in the oversight committee, so if you see it on the agenda for the oversight committee, feel free to pop in and. Give point of view.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think Jose was next.
Oh, okay.
You have on Facebook, one on Facebook that's had.
Only Zoom.
Jose De Jesus, 78 Club Lane. I'm here on behalf of a lot of the homeowners that some of you are probably aware of what's going on with the golf course. It's starting again. All right, just recently, we had a big group, about 14 riders. I think Alana, you even.
I turned them around.
You turned them around. I caught them in one area. If you go over to Lake Shore Drive East, usually I could cut them all off there. Look, I'm taking that upon myself. I know it's a little dangerous. So far, I haven't run into that, but I have caught already Wolf Lake, and I chased them down, literally down the road to their community, where they all told me, 6 of them, that they're being told by their homeowners there that they could come right over at Emerald Green. And these weren't teenagers, they were young men. And these aren't quads anymore.
They're not local people.
No, well, I'm gonna get into that. These aren't even quads anymore. Some of these are the sand dune machines, whatever they call those, all right? Emerald Green, that's another one. I mean, Lake Louise. Lake Louise is another issue. Lake Louise has had a few of them. They're coming over because their kids, teenagers, being told they could come right over there, not over in the Lake, Lake Louise. So, and I caught a few of those. And nice, they've been very respectful, a lot of them. I haven't seen a few of them come back, but I'm starting to see some of the Emerald Green ones where they're saying that it's their property and they've been told that they could ride on there. I know that's not coming from anywhere here or from this office. It's just something that's spreading among them, or it could be just a belief that since they paid for it, that they have the right to go on that property. I'm telling you, this is a problem. I personally believe it could become a liability eventually. We do have young families riding back, walking back there, dog walking back there now. I sit in the back there on Club Lane and I see a lot of young people hanging out back there. I just watched for the 4th of July, a bunch of children were playing hide and go seek, playing tag. Imagine, God forbid, one of these bikers come out of anywhere and then strike one of these kids. I know there's going to be a problem down the road. I'm recommending, and this is me being on board, in previous years, that we do something with the signs a little bigger, maybe. There's a couple of signs there, like Mike said, but we do some bigger signs or something. And the other approach that we had was that we send out emails to the community. No emails have gone out anymore about this. It did work for some time. So maybe we could hit that again. Where numerous emails could go out over and over again to remind the community that you're trespassing. Another thing I was asking the board, maybe, just maybe, we do have on
the books, a $500 fine for homeowners who didn't get caught on there. That maybe we put something out where if you recognize these individuals, where we could put pictures of these individuals on Facebook or something, where if you recognize them, notify the office, so we could implement those fines on these homeowners to put a stop to it. It's disgusting, all right? You try to sit in the back of your property and there's multiple bikers riding all over the place. It would be just like the lakefront, homeowners. Imagine you got speedboats now or people hanging out right in the back and they're throwing a party on one of their freaking boats. It's a shame. It's a shame to be able to sit in the back of your home and do a barbecue, have family and friends over, and there's bikers all over the place. It's becoming disgusting. That's what that is. And I'm not speaking just for myself. It's just a lot of homeowners. The problem is many of the homeowners are older and they're scared to come forward. I don't care. I will chase them down. I've done it. I don't want to keep calling the sheriff's department because I'm tying them up. And that's a shame. But yet the sheriff says the same thing to me every time I speak to them all. They say, Jose, the problem is that some of them are homeowners. We can't do anything unless there's some issue there where we could arrest them because you guys tell us that they're trespassing.
The sheriff's department was told. So whoever is telling you that should call there. It does not matter if they're a member of the community.
Good, excellent.
Because the board has rules set in place about hiding for them. So,
So that's great then, because then I'll share that with them. I wasn't aware of that. Because
Good.
Then Michael, then I'm gonna do that moving forward. It's just that, again, guys, to tie them up, that bothers me a little bit because, I know what they're going through right now, the police departments in, in our communities. And for them to come out here to chase behind, bikers. But I'm sharing with you, Michael, it's getting a little out of hand now.
But my question, do we know, have we seen, you chased them?
I'm not chasing it. I do a little.
But how did you feel when you stopped
I
them?
would say it was very uncomfortable and I actually felt terrible about it after because there was a woman with like 10 young kids, school-age kids who were on the trail. And when I just told her to turn around, she essentially lied to me. Was like, I don't know where the trail is. And then when I told her to go back on the road, she said, don't you think it's more dangerous that it pops out over here? And I said, oh, you miraculously know where the trail ends now? I'm just saying what's happening, I think, is because July 4th, it kind of picked up. We were very low for a while. And it seems like there are larger groups coming through, actually planning to bring, when you start bringing kids and you have an adult in charge of that, they're making a conscious choice to go over trespass property, property that's,
That family, by the way, those were family members that they invited with their quads to come over to see, that's where it starts
and I don't
getting out
want
of
to
hand.
send kids back on the road either, but that's what I'm saying.
All right, we got it.
Back in last year, the previous board did approve up to $35,000 to
That was my next question.
fence those
Capital expenditures.
entrances in there. So
To clarify.
We don't, right?
ATVs are.
Can we send a letter? Can we
Approved by
send a
the
letter?
board, no ATVs, no gas power machines, anything like that, not even electric, because that came up too, anything more. Because then we didn't want them to convert over to electric power machines, and then that becomes, because they still could go up to 60, 70 miles an hour. These
Since
machines.
I'm sending an email out with all the other rules, why don't we just put the golf course in there?
Yeah, numerous times, I think it works, it's a start. Again, the gates, like Michael said, maybe, and again, guys. First, I didn't want to start this with complaining, I wanted to start by saying thank you. Okay, because it is a thankless position, what you guys are doing, and I should know, I've been on 3 times, all right, so, but.
it sounds like you're politicking.
I am a homeowners and myself, yes, when you
Can
say
we
that.
send a letter? Can we send a letter to the Wolf Lake community and the Emerald Green, the other community?
That's the same, wait, that's the same thing you're getting from, they would not, I know many of the board members over there, that is not something.
Yeah, but it would be nice, and I don't think so neither. Yeah, I think it's just their excuse, but it'll still be nice.
Listen, you have a representative over there now, so.
I think what they'll ask me is we send a letter to their board for them to distribute
To their members as well.
Exactly.
It's a start, that's what I'm saying, correct.
Exactly.
Thank you on that, Chris.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's exactly what I'm asking. Lake Louise, same thing, Wolf Lake, same thing, and then for our members, our community, send it out numerous times as a reminder. I think a campaigning, call it whatever you want to call it, works a lot when you're reminding them that they're trespassing on the property. And eventually that we start enforcing something somehow, because once you get one person on that, because it's approved, it's on the books. The boards approved the $500 fine, and they approved everything in, the last board, obviously, about all the motor vehicles and all that, and it's
All right.
just a walking.
Got it. Thank you.
And last thing,
Yeah.
hopefully maybe we could do something real quickly, like a community garden. That was something that we talked about, and so many homeowners fell in love with that idea. And we could start utilizing it, and that's on the homeowners. So that could be something where we could allocate a piece of the property and homeowners come in and start doing whatever it takes.
Yeah, you're talking.
I'll even volunteer for you guys to tap into the water if you have to, and then we'll pay for it, so.
All right, thank you, Jose.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to Zoom, Leslie.
One second, this gentleman's been here since 7 o'clock.
Sorry, hang on.
My name's Alex. I bought my house out here about a year ago, 108 Lakeshore Drive South. I got a summons about a year ago. We started replacing the deck boards, and the deck was all rotten. And you guys, I think Chet's not here, right?
No, this isn't the meeting for that.
They told me to come today and to appeal the fine. I got a fine for $100 a day for 43 days. There was supposed to be a meeting 7 days after I got the fine, but it was canceled. So Chet said I needed to come here, and
I'm not sure why Chet told you to come to this meeting.
not Chet. I called on Wednesday and I spoke to Jenna. She went to Chet.
No, she asked Michael.
No, oh, she didn't. I thought she asked Chet. And she called me, I stayed on the phone, and she told me that I needed to come today. And stand in front of the board and tell you guys
Yeah,
what happened.
That's at the end of the meeting.
no, I was just saying, we can set up a separate thing, sit down with you and walk through. Okay.
I did pull all my permits from Emerald Green and from the town. Unfortunately, the person who sold me the home painted the deck, it looked really great, and the inspection came out great. And then
New hearing date, right?
Al,
Hearing date
tomorrow,
Yeah,
Just since you're here.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it may not come out for it.
I did, but it's 2 hour drive.
Go over there and look and see what they're doing. If you could clean up the crap that's around it, that would help get rid of what you're here about.
So I had a contractor, I interviewed about 15 contractors when I started.
I know the whole story.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the garbage lane.
There shouldn't be anything there now. I have the local guy also signed.
That's okay, that doesn't,
And he said to me that everything's
when I
cleaned
got
up.
pictures. There's stuff there, I know there's stuff
And
there.
I know, and I know who's sending me, I know the whole situation, it's making me crazy, I'm literally up here every week. I know. Sorry.
We can move on.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
If you wanna hang out.
I will.
I'll speak to you.
okay, yes.
Hillary Fabian, 39 Timber Point Road. May want to close your ears for this. I'm here to talk about a unified position from the community about the Avon Industrial Project. And I realize that, there are varying opinions on this very important project, but it is going to significantly impact this development and the community. So my suggestion would be, and I think since we are such a strong community, we have over 600 homes here, and we certainly pay a lot in taxes. I know I pay a lot. In taxes.
Can I stop you 1 second?
Michael,
No, 1 second, I don't think Michael should be here.
She
Oh,
Does-
no, it does matter, he's on the planning.
She said you want to cover your ears.
Oh, is that what it meant?
I'll go back.
My friends, we have a trophy on. Oh, that's great.
Bird wants them.
So to continue what I was saying, we are a community of over 600 homes here who pay significant taxes. And I think that our voices should be heard in unity when it comes to this major project that will certainly affect this community in every way. Most recently with the project's desire to extend our sewer, which would mean that we would be footing the bill for industrial waste. We still don't know what kind of company is in there. So my suggestion would be to gauge the temperature of the community through a very simple Survey Monkey, see how people feel about this project. And from that information, develop a point of view from Emerald Green. I think we as a body have weight in this community, and I think it would be advantageous to have a voice in what our immediate vicinity has in mind for us.
I think when we first started talking about this last summer, the board opted not to take a position because however, which way we want to look at it, it's a political stance. And we didn't want to specifically align ourselves with something that could isolate specific homeowners. The Survey Monkey thing I think is a good idea.
But I don't understand why it's a political stance. It's only political if we're aligning with politicians who feel one way or another. My suggestion and my the reason I'm speaking is because it's a community and homeowner investment situation. I have invested financially, I've invested socially, I've invested emotionally, and this is an important project that's going on. I don't care politically.
Yeah.
Either you think it's a good idea for the community, or you don't think it's a good idea for the community. So I
Relative
think
to
the Survey Monkey might gauge the temperature of the community.
Relative to what the board work is though, does that fall under the description of the board?
Well, I think if the board is the governing body of the community, I don't need, if the board is just the government here, then I would ask the board to send out the survey.
But
And then
the issue comes as far as money. The issue comes as far as money. The issue comes as far as money, and we don't have this in our budget. And we decided that if people individually wanted to contribute to the Lake Alliance, that would be fine, but as a board, we couldn't fund them.
I just want to ask
I'm
a
not
clarifying point.
contributing to the
She-
Lake
yeah,
Alliance.
she's not talking about Lake.
The temperature of the community and their opinion about the matter, and then collectively organize what. And the potential to then say, we're 40-60 split, 50-50, and then just say. Facts, the community is at a 60-40 split, here's whatever, if you blah, blah, blah.
Well-
You don't want us to do necessarily anything, you're just coming to us because you want to be able to access the email to do the surveys.
I would like, I honestly, I don't understand why this community of this size is not taking a formal stand. If the community is indeed against this project, and that's my if, and that would be the reason for the Survey Monkey, because I know my opinion, but I don't know the rest of the community's opinion.
So two parts to that. I think the survey is a good idea. If it's something that we can do within the scope of our nature, then that's fine. I think the problem comes in, what do you do with the data afterwards? If it's used to manage what the board does, then we may end up in a conflict. But if we announce, okay, this is where this community stands, then we've done no harm. I don't see, as far as the board goes.
I want to recognize Chris, and then I got to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to let you go first.
No, I see no reason to change our position that we're just not getting involved, and we're not gonna, there are advocates and advocacy groups around this issue who are doing a great job. Let them continue to do that. I don't think, we're not an advocacy group. Bottom line, we're here to manage the budget and manage the association. That's my.
And I said it better than I was going to say. I think, I don't think it's appropriate to use our communications for any issue that's coming before government bodies or anything in the nature of an advocacy group, even if the question is facially neutral. The department, HOA columns are for HOA business. If I went and formed an advocacy group that said, this is not my personal position on the issue, but like, let's say I formed the Jobs for Rock Hill Alliance, right? And that went against some of the LCA's things like, then I'd be able to come in here and ask for the same thing. I think you guys are free to knock on doors in the community. You are free to ask our neighbors for money. You're free to come into these meetings and do exactly what you're doing. But that's apart from the HOA business.
You guys, I'm speaking as a homeowner.
Sure, and so you as an individual, or the advocacy groups that are formed, y'all are free to do those things. You know, I think you have your answer, right? In the sense that I'm actually gonna just leave it at that, but I think we need to stay away from this. Those communications are for homeowners and for HOA business, not for local government.
Have you tried the Rock Hill Business Association?
No, I'm just coming to a
because
community that has a strong voice and pays large taxes.
Yes, but
And wants
this
to engage.
is a piece of property that's outside our community.
Well, you know, everything is gonna affect everything. Everything is, we're not in a bubble. We're part of it.
Water.
Yeah, I mean,
Now it's affecting us directly.
It's not our water. They have their own water. They're gonna have their own water.
okay.
Listen, I'm not saying that, dude, no, I'm telling you, I'm in a business, the more people we have, it's a win for me.
But you know, I just
It's
feel
something
like
that you
there's
can't-
something that a unified community could do, and now I have the answer that we don't want to get involved in something that will affect the community. It's just, we've all bought into here. And thank you for your time, and appreciate it.
Thanks, Heather.
Man, have you tapped into Facebook?
Yes.
Leslie, and Michael, you can come back if you can hear me.
Okay, did I miss the roll call?
No, we didn't formally do a roll call, but I believe the secretary has the minutes that all board members were present, 2 on Zoom, but 1 were present. Tom Gans is not here. Joel and Arthur are on Zoom. Everybody else is here. We had a quorum.
So only Tom is the one not present today.
Correct.
Okay. My next question is with regards to the financials. You guys talk a lot about numbers. The tax bill, $8,000 for property taxes. Payroll was over budgeted. Community activities was over budget. Are all these numbers gonna be in the next minutes? In this minutes for next month approval?
Once we approve the financials, they'll be posted. Right?
Yeah, so basically, what we opted to do today initially was to vote for the financials. And there was a question that was related to that. We kind of got the answer, but
they have to be corrected. So there's a line item on there that's got to be fixed. So once they're fixed, we're going to vote by email and they'll be posted up.
Also, too, you just said something that's just factually not true, which is that the community activities is over budget. I think when Dan was reporting out that number, he was saying that there was $31,000 in overages. And when we report out community activities, that's just the line item. The activities budget is within the realm of the activities budget. That's just something that's not seen from month to month as an expense line item. So maybe the way it was said was misunderstood, but our budget is not over by any stretch of the imagination.
It's for that particular month.
Correct. It looks like, right, they're just reporting out on the month numbers, but that the overall budget is not over. For
All right.
But
Committee.
some people don't look at the financials line by line. And there was a lot of talk at this.
it was over, but it was just for the month.
This amount. So my question is, are the meetings themselves will show all this talk back and forth about all these amounts? That's my question. Because like I said, not everyone goes line by line on the budget. They'll go by the minutes of what it was said. And there was a lot of.
Look, the minutes will reflect what the minutes reflect. We also
Publish the financials.
we publish the financials and we record these meetings and publish them to YouTube. I mean, there's just several avenues of transparency of the individual line items and the numbers. So I have every confidence that any homeowner who wants to understand that or know what was said earlier today in the meeting will have access to that information.
And my last input here would be that I would like to make very well known to everyone whoever is in here and whoever's gonna watch this on YouTube or whatever, that the bylaws committee is not, we are not the ones revising the bylaws. Only one person has been involved, Mr. Goldberg, Scott Goldberg, has been involved in doing all the revisions for the.
That's just not accurate, Leslie. So there were two other members of that subcommittee who since resigned from the bylaws committee. And there are two members, including yourself, who subsequently volunteered to help in the subcommittee. I know Scott started working on a draft before realizing that you guys wanted to be involved. And so you'll be having a subcommittee meeting with Scott and working on a draft. He took a first crack at it. Good for him and thanks to him. So there are others who are going to be involved, and Dan is the other person on the subcommittee who wants to be involved in that. And there may have been one more, I just can't remember. But
I'm fine with Scott even being the chairman of the subcommittee, and we just kind of feed some of he's got a little bit more knowledge on some of this.
yeah, I mean, somebody's just doing the work. That's great. I don't think it's to be criticized.
That we were not that involved in the revisions. Also, yes, I wanted to be part of the subcommittee, and I was told there was no more meetings being held. And I show my email, Earl asked me, who told you that? And I show him my email where I was told there was no more meetings being held. So I do hope that the next, if there is any more meetings, I will be contacted and let me know when that meeting will take place.
I'm sure you will.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, Jose, I don't know if the board is aware of security. I was primarily here for the golf course, but I just thought while I was sitting there, I know security has gone up to nearly 97, I heard, thousand. Am I correct? Yeah, so some years back, some of the previous boards that I sat on, I was in charge of that committee. When we first started off, it was at 45,000 back then. You're up to nearly 100 grand. We were looking at placing facial recognition and license plate readers at 7 locations. There are 7 entrance points into Emerald Green. We have now obviously upgraded to cameras all over the place. I think, and back then it got knocked down because the cost was, I think, 75, 80 grand. We could start looking at that. We've upgraded ourselves to some nice tech now, and maybe it's an idea to try to save on the security, because obviously that's just going to continue going up. And there's really no need. A lot of businesses nowadays, larger than this community, using now camera systems to monitor their properties and all that. So
It's
just an idea.
Definitely a valid point. I think when from the security perspective, we have to look at it as brand new building. Make sure that, you know, we put people in place to make sure it's secure because it's brand new. You don't know what's going to happen. And then as trends wear down, we could probably.
Yeah, something like just for this board to, you know, think about, you know, in future meetings. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jose. Anything else? All right.
How's
Hal, hi.
Hey, thank you. I just wanted to address a couple of things that Jose brought up real quickly. I know the previous board approved money for some fencing. That money's probably not sitting around still. So why don't we figure out something inexpensive, a real big sign to these entrances? Just says, better than the little signs that are up there, a big sign, a banner, which is inexpensive. No motor vehicles, private property, et cetera, et cetera. In addition to those great ideas about sending out some emails to the neighboring communities. I think
So
that'll
Al,
help.
I think Jose did say that. He alluded to that.
And part of the long-term.
My mind automatically goes to like some of the rail trails and walkways where they have those specific signs. So It probably wouldn't take much. We get 30 or 40 of those made up and a couple of fence post signs and we'll put throughout, so.
Right, right, and
It's a good
and
idea.
also,
We might be including Emerald Green homeowners.
and let's finally move on doing a one of those hunting cameras out there so we could try to capture who's actually out there.
Thank you.
All right, and the other thing was the young lady who was talking about the Avon development. I just also wanted to say, you know, we don't want to get ourselves in an official situation, and that was the intent of the board's decision last year, that Emerald Green doesn't want to officially endorse whether we're supporting the project or not supporting the project. Many of us, probably most of us as individuals, do not support the project, but again, as a group and as a community, we can't officially endorse, and I hope there's an understanding there.
Thank you.
Back to what Jose said about the riders. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Stucker, they live in Piccadilly Circle, and it's really horrendous for them. They're an elderly couple in their, you know, late 70s, and they have to deal with this every summer. It's really bad for them.
Okay, hands.
Rich and Lee.
Lee, go ahead, Lee.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my comment is about signing up for events via phone, text, you know. For many people, it's not easy. I tried to sign up for the garage sale and it just didn't work. And I called the office and the first person I spoke to said that you don't have the facility to take it over the phone, which didn't make sense to me. But anyway, I took care of that. But my comment is that when you post something like the Olympics that are coming up and it says to sign up online, you should also have an alternate of signing up by phone to the office.
We do. I don't know what happened, and I'm not minimizing what happened to you, but we all have access to the same spreadsheet. So the online registration goes automatically, but the office staff all has the ability to go into that spreadsheet and add you. And we did do that for the yard sale and stuff. So that might have happened, but that won't happen moving forward.
So when you advertise it and it says sign up by clicking here, you should also include in your advertising or phone or visit the office.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Rich and then Marcy.
My question is regarding the fences to the lakes. I have not heard updates of how the locks are working. I know they were working on them. And what is the status now? Because eventually they're going to be pulling boats and we want to protect our lakes.
That was at the beginning of the.
No, it should be taken care of in the next few weeks, Rick.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Marcy?
Thank you. So a couple points. I just want to touch on the Avon project. I applaud Hillary for her comments, and I don't think that there's anything political about it. And I think rather than take a negative approach, we can all come out in favor of responsible development in the community. And that is a strong positive, you know, and I feel like not taking a stance and not having our voices heard is sort of like saying you as the board are concerned about how to arrange the chairs on the Titanic as it starts to go under. I think it's critical and it impacts all of us. And I would really encourage and urge everyone to, you know, take a stance and be aware and have your voices heard when that's possible. I want to make a comment that I signed up for the Welcome Committee. I did a lot of work initially. I have gift certificates to restaurants. I have not been notified that there was a meeting. I haven't been on a meeting in many, many months. I don't know what's happening there, but I think it's a lovely thing that our community does, and I'd like to be a part of it. So I, you know, question that. Couple more things regarding security. I've been in the Entertainium a number of times where the doors were propped open, the middle doors, and people were running in and out, in and out, in and out. There was a massive crowd on the basketball court that I venture to say the majority of people did not live here. I heard that one pass card was used 20 times over a period of 6 minutes. So I think, you know, we have some serious concerns. The person I was with is an executive in an insurance company who, you know, made some very strong statements from her, you know, position of expertise that if an incident happens, whether it's an injury or property damage, first, if we're not doing due diligence, that's a problem. Secondly, our insurance company can and probably will, according to her, either raise our rates astronomically or drop us. So I think we really need, you know, much more stringent security. I also drive by the
On
dam.
that comment, it's far more complicated than that. I can't let that just sit out there as some.
Okay.
fact. I don't know your friend or who that person was, but
Yeah.
have a third-hand opinion from somebody you don't even know and commenting the insurance, that's just.
All right,
not-
then, fine, then
Also
we'll just
making
say there are
assumptions about who lives
strong.
here and who doesn't live here is also a step too far. I mean, unless you're talking to community members, I mean, you can't assume who lives here.
Well, I saw the door propped open and I saw a huge number of people go in that door with no passes. So I think, you know, we do have huge security concerns and I think that they need to be addressed. Every time I drive past the dam, which is quite frequently, the door's propped open. I get out of my car and I close it and then I drive by later, it's propped open. So I think we really need to, you know, have concerns about maintaining and, you know, improving our security. So there you have it.
Chris wanted to address the welcoming committee point briefly.
Okay.
Mostly the committee hasn't met in a bit, and you know, I do appreciate the work that you've done on gift certificates, and I'm not sure why we're having a discussion in board meeting because you know my email, and I'm happy to address this one-on-one, but the meetings that we've had have all been properly noticed, and you are on the email list. So maybe check your spam folder. But you know, I'm happy to work with the gift certificates with you so we can.
Yeah, I've been giving them out to people that I meet who are new to the community, just because, you know, I have them and I want, you know, people to get the benefit of them. So, all right, well, and the other thought, and I don't know that this is too valid because I think people will find a way around it, but in terms of vehicles, you know, going onto our trails, we could do some really strong, I don't know what it's called, but, you know, construction type braided wire. And, you know, have one of those strong metal clamps holding it and of course flag it so we don't strangle anyone, you know, across part of the trail. And, you know, that might be a deterrent. I don't know. Well, I don't find that so funny. I find signs funny actually, because I think people who know that they're trespassing and see a sign are not going to be deterred at all. If there's a physical deterrent, then perhaps that will help. And I don't know that it will.
We're gonna look at the issue. All right, thank you, Marcy.
Can I
Okay.
follow up on something that Hillary said, because I just think there was a lot going on during that discussion. And I think it would be helpful for us to at least know when critical things are occurring, like you were specifically talking about the vote to expand the sewer district. Can we at least say there is a vote, like, would the board be comfortable?
Sure, let's do it right now. Wednesday, September 20th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Rock Hill Firehouse is a vote, community vote that was scheduled pursuant to petitions of a very successful advocacy group, I guess. That is a vote that I understand is open to everyone who lives here and pays into the sewer district, whether you're registered to vote or in regular elections or not. So there's your opportunity, get out and have your voice heard.
And what's not at this point on that one?
I don't know. It's not my election. I really don't.
You have to talk to the township.
Yeah,
Wednesday, September.
They have
7th,
it's not my monkey.
They have absentee voting better.
Absentee voting that you said.
I'm sure they, do,
Yes.
but you better check with the town.
And
Okay.
so that you read, like, that message is important that there is a vote.
I think so too. So to
Yeah.
your point,
Mhm.
is that something that the board feels comfortable distributing?
We just
As
did.
recently You did.
Done.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, because it's important to vote and vote with conscience on that.
All right.
Was that a official vote, Chris?
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, wait. We have, yeah, we have an executive session. So, Marcy, I think your hand's up from earlier. So,
No,
So-
my hand is up for now. Additional comment, please. So just to make note that there were supposed to be between 90 and 105 days from the judge's decision to have that vote for the community. It somehow magically went far beyond that time limit. It is in September, in latter part of September, when all the children are back in school, when many families who come here for the summer are no longer here. It is midweek exactly, so people who might be able to extend a weekend on either end. I won't make any accusations, but it's just a very interesting timing. And as of yet, I am not aware if absentee voting is allowed or not. I hope that's the case, but I don't think that's been, if it's been determined, it hasn't been disseminated yet. And I feel like there are 15 people on this meeting, and it probably includes the board. So I think a larger notification would be a very important thing for the board to consider, just so that every homeowner knows they have an opportunity to have their voice heard. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Marcy. I'm sorry, I just can't see the name of who else has our hand up. Nita. Nita?
Nita Tao.
It's Nita.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, hi.
A quick comment, all the talk about the golf course. I think it would be a great idea if we could put up some of the hunting cameras and put up signs that are saying, if you're trespassing, we're taking your picture and there will be a fine. Just to, put it out there again, saying we're taking your picture. We're going to find who you're not in those words. We're going to find who you are. We're going to find you, just as an added incentive for them, perhaps not to go on. I don't think
Hunt you down. Yeah, okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Seeing no other hands, no other comments, the board will now go into executive session. We have one legal matter to discuss, so thanks for everybody from the community for attending.
Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
So long.